Cedric Alexander. Cederic Johnson, born August 16, 1989, is an American professional wrestler currently signed to WWE, where he performs on the Raw brand under the ring name Cedric Alexander. Alexander worked for Ring of Honor, ROH, from 2010 until 2016. He started as part of CNC Factory, a tag team with Caprice Coleman. They worked together until 2014, when he worked as a singles wrestler, usually managed by Veda Scott. He left ROH in 2016, when he was invited to the WWE Tournament Cruiserweight Classic. During the tournament, he was eliminated in the second round by Kota Ibushi, received high praise, with the fans in attendance chanting "Please sign Cedric." After that, Alexander would sign a contract with WWE, working in their new cruiserweight division as part of the 205 Live brand. At WrestleMania 34, Alexander won a tournament to win the WWE Cruiserweight Championship, retaining the title for 181 days. Professional wrestling career. Ring of Honor. CNC Wrestle Factory, 2010-2013. Over the course of 2010, Alexander mostly wrestled dark matches for Ring of Honor, ROH. In 2011 he started performing for ROH on a regular basis after he formed the tag team called the CNC Wrestle Factory with Caprice Coleman. On December 23 at Final Battle 2011, CNC Wrestle Factory competed in a tag team gauntlet match for a future ROH World Tag Team Championship title shot where they eliminated the Bravado Brothers, Harlem and Lancelot. On March 30 at Showdown in the Sun Chapter 1, they were defeated by wrestling's greatest tag team, Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. The next day at Showdown in the Sun Chapter 2, Alexander was defeated by Tommaso Ciampa. On September 15 at Death Before Dishonor X, State of Emergency, they were defeated by SCUM, Jimmy Jacobs and Steve Corino. At Glory by Honor 11, The Unbreakable Hope on October 13, they once again defeated the Bravado Brothers. On December 16 at Final Battle 2012, Doomsday, they unsuccessfully challenged SCUM for the ROH World Tag Team Championship in a three-way match that also included the Briscoe brothers who won the match. On March 3 at the 11th anniversary show, he and Coleman were defeated by SCUM. On April 5 at Supercard of Honor 7, CNC Wrestle Factory teamed with BJ Whitmer, Mark Briscoe and Mike Mondo in a losing effort against SCUM, Cliff Compton, Jimmy Jacobs, Jimmy Rave, Rhett Titus and Rhino. On May 4 at Border Wars 2013, they defeated ACH and Tadarius Thomas. On May 18 at Relentless, they teamed with Jay Lethal to defeat Matt Taven and Redragon, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. On July 8 at Live and Let Die, Alexander was defeated by Davey Richards. On June 22 at Best in the World 2013, they unsuccessfully challenged Redragon for the ROH World Tag Team Championship in a three-way match that also included SCUM, Rhett Titus and Cliff Compton. On August 3 at All-Star Extravaganza V, they were defeated by Adrenaline Rush, ACH and Tadarius Thomas, in a three-way match that also included the Young Bucks. Singles Competition, 2014-2016. On January 25 at Wrestling's Finest, he defeated Andrew Everett. On February 8 at State of the Art, he was defeated by Jimmy Jacobs. On February 21 at the 12th anniversary show he teamed with Mark Briscoe and Adam Page in a losing effort against The Decade, Roderick Strong, BJ Whitmer and Jimmy Jacobs. On March 7 at Raising the Bar Day 1, he teamed with Adam Page in a tag team match against The Decade where they lost. The next day at Raising the Bar Day 2 he was defeated by Kevin Stain. On March 22 at Flyin' High he was defeated by Michael Elgin. On April 4 at Supercard of Honor 8, he lost a match against Roderick Strong. On April 19 at Second to None, he teamed with Andrew Everett in a losing effort against Redragon. At Global Wars on May 10, he defeated Roderick Strong. After the match he was attacked by Roderick Strong and the rest of The Decade and was put through chairs and his shoulder was separated. Alexander made an appearance at War of the Worlds attacking The Decade from behind. This led to a submission match against Roderick Strong at Best in the World, in which he came out victorious. On August 9, during the Summer Heat Tour, he unsuccessfully challenged Michael Elgin for the Raw World Championship. On September 6 at All-Star Extravaganza 6 he was scheduled to face Silas Young, but when Young broke his leg and ACH did not show up for the event, he challenged Jay Lethal for the Raw World Television Championship, where he was defeated. On October 11 at Champions vs. All-Stars, he was defeated by Christopher Daniels. On November 7 at Survival of the Fittest Day 1, he was defeated by Adam Page in a 2014 Survival of the Fittest qualifying match. The next day at Survival of the Fittest Day 2, he was defeated by Jay Lethal. On November 22 at Tag Wars, he was defeated by Tommaso Ciampa in no disqualification grudge match. On December 7 at Final Battle 2014, he teamed with The Addiction, Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian, but ultimately lost to the Young Bucks and ACH following a Meltzer driver and an ACH 450 splash. On May 16, 2015, at Global Wars 15, Alexander ended Moose's undefeated streak after hitting him with a wrench. On June 19 at Best in the World 2015, Alexander reunited with Caprice Coleman, but ultimately broke off the partnership for good, when Coleman refused to allow Alexander to use the wrench again in a match against War Machine, Hansen and Raymond Rowe. Later that same event, Alexander attacked Moose, aligning himself with Moose's former manager Veda Scott. On May 14, 2016, Alexander announced his departure from Raw. WWE Cruiserweight Classic and Cruiserweight Champion, 2016-2018. On June 13, 2016, Alexander was announced as a participant in WWE's upcoming Cruiserweight Classic tournament. The tournament began on June 23 with Alexander defeating Clement Petiot in his first round match. On July 14, Alexander was eliminated from the tournament by Kota Ibushi. The match received high praise, with the fans in attendance chanting "Please sign Cedric," and earned a 4.5-star rating from Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. On the August 29 episode of Raw, Alexander was announced as part of upcoming Cruiserweight division. Alexander made his debut on the September 19 episode of Raw, submitting to Brian Kendrick in a Fatal 4-Way match that included Gran Metalik and Rich Swann to determine the number 1 contender for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. On the September 26 episode of Raw, he along with Rich Swann, defeated Lince Dorado and Drew Gulak. On the December 6 episode of 205 Live, it was revealed that Alexander was dating Alicia Fox in storyline, and later faced Noam Dar in a losing effort. After the match, Dar dedicated his victory to Fox, igniting a feud between the two. On the December 19 episode of Raw, Alexander defeated Dar. Alexander later decided to break up with Fox, after she cost him a match. In late February, it was announced that Alexander would be out of action for 3-5 months with a knee injury. He returned from injury on the May 23 on 205 Live. On the July 11 episode of 205 Live, Alexander defeated Dar in an I Quit match to end their feud. On the December 11 episode of Raw, Alexander won a Fatal 4-Way match, earning a match against Drew Gulak for the number 1 contendership to the Cruiserweight Championship. Alexander defeated Gulak on December 18, and faced Enzo Amore for the title on January 9, 2018, which Amore lost by count-out, therefore retaining. Alexander was scheduled to face Amore for the Cruiserweight Championship at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, but the match was cancelled and the title was vacated when Amore was released from WWE. A tournament to determine a new champion was arranged, in which Alexander defeated Gran Metalik in the first round, TJP in the quarterfinals, and Roderick Strong in the semifinals to advance to the final. At WrestleMania 34 Kickoff, Alexander defeated Mustafa Ali to win the Cruiserweight Championship. On the following episode of 205 Live, Alexander was attacked by Buddy Murphy during his championship celebration. On April 27, Alexander made his first successful title defense against Kalisto at the Greatest Royal Rumble. On the May 29 episode of 205 Live, he defeated Buddy Murphy to retain the Cruiserweight Championship. At the SummerSlam, Alexander successfully defended his title against Drew Gulak. On the September 19 episode of 205 Live, Alexander defeated Gulak in a SummerSlam rematch to retain the Cruiserweight Championship. Storylines following championship loss and promotion to Raw, 2018 present. At Super Showdown, Alexander lost the Cruiserweight Championship against Buddy Murphy, ending his reign at 181 days, also marking his first televised loss in 2018. On the following episode of 205 Live, Alexander lost to Murphy's ally, Tony Nessett. The following week on 205 Live, Alexander was pinned by Nessa again in a fatal five-way match also involving Gran Metalik, Lio Rush, and TJP. On the November 14 episode of 205 Live, Alexander defeated Rush to give Rush his first televised loss on 205 Live. 2 weeks later on the November 28 episode of 205 Live, Alexander teamed with Mustafa Ali to defeat Murphy and Nessa after Alexander pinned Murphy. Alexander received his title rematch against Buddy Murphy at TLC but failed to regain the title. In early 2019, Alexander competed in a tournament for a match for the title at WrestleMania 35. Alexander lasted until the finals of the tournament where he lost to Tony Nessett. Alexander later started a feud with Oni Lorcan. On the March 26 episode of 205 Live, he lost the match to Arya Davari when Lorcan cost his match. During the 2019 WWE Superstar Shake-Up, Alexander was drafted to Raw. Alexander lost his final match on the April 17 episode of 205 Live against Oni Lorcan. After the match, the two shook hands as a sign of respect, thus ending their feud. On the April 22 edition of Raw, Alexander would lose his debut match against Cesaro. Following that, he rarely appeared on Raw over the next 2 months, instead wrestling on WWE Main Event. On the June 24 edition of Raw, Alexander briefly won the 24/7 championship from R-Truth before immediately losing it against EC3 during a flurry of title changes. Couple weeks later on Raw, Alexander, disguised as Gary Garbutt, originally played by the former AAF's Memphis Express president Kosha Irby, teamed with Roman Reigns in a losing effort against Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon. A week later, Alexander scored an upset victory over McIntyre in a singles match. Other media. Alexander made his video game debut in WWE 2K18 and subsequently appears in WWE 2K19. Personal life. In June 2018, Alexander married fellow professional wrestler Ariel Monroe. Championships and accomplishments.